They're not really cords. They're really vocal folds. They're two pieces of tissue that come together, and a muscle brings them together. And then what happens is when the air comes through the vocal folds, when they're together, they vibrate at really high frequencies, like 100 to 200 hertz. And the reason why men and women generally have different voice qualities is it has to do with the size of the larynx and the shape of it. Okay, so in general, men have a larger voice box or larynx, and the vibrating frequency, the resonance frequency of the vocal folds when the air comes through them is about 100 hertz for men and about 200 for women. So you take a breath in. As the air is coming out, the vocal folds come together and the air goes through. That creates the sound of the voice that we call voicing. It's not just your voice characteristic, it's the energy of your voice. It's coming from the larynx there. It's a noise. And then it's the source of the voice. And then what happens is that energy, that sound, goes up through the parts of the vocal tract, like the pharynx, into the oral cavity, which is your mouth and your tongue and your lips. And what those things are doing is that they're shaping the air in particular ways that create consonants and vowels. That's what I mean by shaping the breath. It just starts with this exhalation. You generate the voice in the larynx, and then everything above the larynx is moving around, just like the way my mouth is doing right now, to shape that air into particular patterns that you can hear as words.
Immediately makes me wonder about more primitive or non-learned vocalizations like crying or laughter. Are those produced by the language areas, or do they have their own unique neural structures?
We call those vocalizations. A vocalization is basically where someone can create a sound like a cry or a moan, that kind of sound. And it also involves the exhalation of air. It also involves some phonation at the level of the larynx where the vocal folds come together to create that audible sound. But it turns out that those are actually different areas. So people who have injuries in the speech and language areas oftentimes can still moan, they can still vocalize. And it is a different part of the brain. I would say an area that even non-human primates have that can be specialized, for vocalization. It's a different form of communication than words, for example.
Speaking of storage of and ability to speak, you are doing some amazing work and have achieved some pretty incredible, well-deserved recognition for your work in bringing language out of paralyzed people, essentially allowing people who are locked into a paralyzed state or otherwise unable to articulate speech, using